G'day, team. So today I want to dive into what it looks like to hire an AI expert in your organization. Of recent, and I said in the last few months, I've been having lots of conversations with the organizations around internally hiring an AI expert. And essentially, they want to hire an AI expert to solve all their problems. Essentially, what they're seeing online is around the amazing boom when it comes to AI and all the applications that have literally launched. I did a post about this, a video about this maybe 2 months ago when the US announced they had just hit over 10,000 AI apps that had literally been custom built from the ground up, essentially integrating into OpenAI, ChatGPT, in the last 18 months. 10,000 AI apps in the last 18 months is absolutely insane. And so business owners are seeing this and going, oh, great, I just need someone in my team who can get a hold of these apps, do some plug and play like Zapier, essentially, and then all my problems are solved. And so I want to dive into a bit of that conversation today and what you should look for when hiring an AI expert in your organization, in my opinion. Now, what I still believe we're in is version one of AI for business. And so you want to make sure that you got the right people, the right team, the right individuals on board to ensure that you can not just go from version one, but all the way through to version two and beyond. And I still think that's like 2 to 3 years away. This is still very early days. That's why I'm saying it's version one, even though AI has been around for forever and we've been in AI for nearly 6 years now. So, what does it look like to hire an internal AI person, or in my opinion, what you need is you need an entire team internally. And so, this team will be made up of an AI strategist, a AI project manager, a data scientist, machine learning experts, the researchers, all the AI and ML researchers, the data engineers, the product managers, once you've got the AI actually deployed, all the API integration experts you require. You definitely need DevOps engineers. Then you need to make it pretty. So you need the UX and UI, the UI designers, which they probably hate me saying that, but essentially you need to make it look pretty. And then in some cases you need AI ethics officers. And so there's a combination. I know I just rounded off 6 or 7 or even 10 experts there. And so you need a combination of all these skill sets to develop and deploy AI in your organization. So hiring an AI expert in your team, I don't honestly think today, where we sit, will actually solve the problem in the way you're thinking, you're hoping it would be solved. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for hiring internal. This is not a post to say, hey, you must, hire external AI consultants such as ourselves. I just wanted to be completely open and honest and put you on a path, because I honestly believe every business should actually have an AI expert in their team, some form or another, in the coming years. And so where I think most organizations should start is hiring an AI project manager. And so that AI project manager gets to really understand your organization inside and out. They get to be a part of your culture. They get to really understand the workings behind the scene. They get to understand all your different leaders and your different staff members in the organization. And they come up with a bit of that mediary between your internal resources and external consultants. And I say this and I talk about this because most small business, and I'm talking about the small business world here, right? Small to medium businesses, you don't have the budget to go and hire an entire AI team, like 10 people in your organization. You just physically don't have the budget. And so if we all did, it'd be absolutely amazing, but talking about reality here. And so if we get this AI project manager on board, essentially they become the glue that holds everything together. They understand all the inner workings around the different projects you're doing internally, and they can also then plug and play different experts in as you require, whether that's for agencies, consultants such as ourselves, or maybe freelancers. Maybe you start going into the world of getting some offshore engineers or developers in play, but essentially they can be like the middle ground to essentially hold it all together. So what does an AI project manager look like? So as I mentioned, the central coordination, I'm going to talk about like what we see from projects, essentially what goes well, what doesn't go well, and and this will give you some good understanding. So they become the central coordination point, right? And so what I mean by that is they coordinate the internal and external consultants, and they ensure alignment is always there and ensures that the project tracks is always moving forward. They have a deep understanding of the organization, so they understand the business goals. They understand which way the project needs to move to ensure it always comes back to the direction of the business goals. They initiated the project in the first place. They facilitate all the communication, so they're kind of like that advocacy, internal and also external, when it comes to vendors. And so they're the key point that everyone goes to, all staff members go to, all vendors go to. Essentially, nothing ever gets past them. So they're that communication channel, which is I could do an entire video on this. There needs to be someone internal when you're running your project to make it happen. Otherwise, there's always a misunderstanding. They provide oversight. They provide quality control. So every time you're releasing an update, releasing a change, releasing something internally, they provide that control both internally and externally. And when I say internal and external, I also mean like staff members and departments. And there's always checks and balances that need to have in place. So essentially, they have that quality control functionality. The integration is absolute crucial. So most people don't think that AI, or you think AI would just solve my problems. To bring AI into your organization, there's an integration that is required. Essentially, like if you ever go on ChatGPT, you're using the front end application, on the back end OpenAI. There needs to be that integration connector, and not just integration from what's been built, but you need to develop something internally to be able to bring that into your organization. So there's a lot of scoping, a lot of documentation, a lot of process mapping. There's a lot of heavy lifting that needs to happen internally, and that's where that AI project manager would definitely come into play. The resource management aspect of it is crucial, because once you to build all the process mapping and the documentation and the field mapping, etc., that's required, you physically need to go and talk to people. You need to go and interview people. You need to dive into the processes. Like, there's a big process around the business analyst component that's required, and so the AI project manager can also facilitate the internal resources and they can be that resource management internally. And then the risk management, how do you identify risk? How do you manage risk? How do you maintain risk? How do you ensure that everyone's on track? If people get off track, how do you bring them back on track again? So that whole risk management componentry. So I think there's a real crucial part and I've been thinking of this for a while. I've been talking to a lot of people around this, where if you had an AI project manager in your business, and that was like one of your key first staff members, your hires, from an AI team, then essentially you can start building up AI resources under them as you start growing and scaling. So I want to talk about the pros and cons. So hiring an internal team, I'm all for it. I'm absolutely all for hiring an internal team if you have the budget for it. Like, you're looking at $1 million straight off the bat. So unless you've got $1 million lying around, that's only for 12 months. So you got to make sure you're doing that every year. I'm all for it. Get the right skills on board. Bring the knowledge in-house. You retain all that IP. You get that deep understanding of your entire company. I said it's an absolute no-brainer if you have the budget for it. The other con around not having a budget is the skill shortage. What we're seeing here in Australia, but also globally, that talent's expensive and they're always being poached. So someone that you might be paying $200K for now, they just got poached for $330K. Like, there's always a skills shortage when it comes to really good talent. From an external consulting perspective, so I guess what all those resources are explained before, you're not just hiring an external resource or a contracting company like us, and we're doing, we have all those resources in our staff. We're not just doing one project for you. We're obviously doing many projects for many organizations. That's why we can split the costs and keep the cost low per project. We're very, very flexible and scalable based on project needs. But the con is, we are doing many projects for many organizations at the same time, right? So you need to keep that in mind. It's not like we're just doing one project for you, because it's just not viable as a business model. And so the con is that limited availability. If you want to spin up a project quickly, you might have to wait 30 days, 60 days, or so forth, until a project finishes. So then there's resources available. But the pro is that we can pull on the different resources. So not all 10 resources are deployed on your one project at the one time over a 6-month or 12-month lifespan of the project. We can pull and push resources as required. So it does make a lot more sense, especially from a cost perspective. The other really good pro I like to use is, we see a lot, like a lot, in the 1,000+ businesses we work with. We see what people do, what works, what doesn't work. We pull on different knowledge, different industries, and so you get a really good broad understanding, expertise across the field. So this wasn't a post or a video to say, hey, you should definitely use external consultancies such as ourselves. It wasn't a plug for us. It's really just to say that I am having these conversations. People are wanting to hire internal resources. My personal opinion is, you hire an internal AI project manager and you start building an AI team under them over a long period of time, when you have the budget to start bringing in internally. And as that happens, we can continually working with the organization to help you scale as you need to. So I think that's a really good win-win. And if you don't think you're ever going to hire an AI project manager, totally fine. You can just keep doing project by project. But I do honestly feel in my gut, in the next 2, 3, 5 years, everyone's going to have an AI expert in their team at some point or another in the future. It's just like an absolute no-brainer. All right, guys, thank you so much, and I will speak to you very soon. Cheers.